Welcome back to the Pearl Report. Fenwick Pier here in Wan Chai is the hub for U.S. sailors visiting Hong Kong. They all pass through before heading into the city.
U.S. sailors love Hong Kong as a liberty port.
The shopping, that's the best part of it.
Electronics. DVDs, electronics.
iPods,
thumb drives, all that.
Now, Hong Kong likes sailors too because they spend a lot of money. There's a part of the population here, though, that has always preyed on sailors. In the 1950s, they were targeted as soon as they came ashore.
There was no one greeting them, and they would kind of mill about as they got off the Liberty boats, and they'd be attacked by girls of the street and by pimps and other people looking to grab their money.
In 1954, a Catholic Marino priest approached the government for land, and with help from the American Women's Association, started receiving sailors from navies the world over at Fenwick Pier in Wan Chai.
They tried protecting the sailors as they entered port by keeping other people away, trying to grab their wallets.
Father Ron Sousey has been involved since 1965 and has been running the Servicemen's Guides Association for 14 years. It's usually quiet, hardly anyone here, until the Navy arrives. The Servicemen's Guides Association, or SGA, serves visiting military ships here on a long-term, rent-free lease from the Hong Kong government. The SGA rents office space to the U.S. Navy at market rates and then turns over just about everything else in this 3-floor building to the Navy to manage. That includes some retail space, which is rent-free because there's really only business when the ships are in. When sailors arrive, they get the protection, plus the extras that come when someone is looking out for you.
The company that provides the calling cards also provides the phones. They pay for all of these fixed landline phones so that they don't have to pay these $1 every 5 minutes to stay on the line.
There's a U.S. Postal Service. Mail and packages going in and out of here are treated as though they're going in and out of San Francisco. The charges are the same.
When that ship came in here recently, altogether we moved probably around 40,000 tons of mail and cargo, and that's a huge morale booster for the ships.
Sailors can change money right here.
Just give me back my $50 US. Right, and then the rest in Hong Kong.
They can use a computer for free, get laundry done, book a Hong Kong tour or golf arranged specifically for sailors. They can eat and drink at the Quarterdeck Club, which is always open but exclusive to the Navy during visits. And they can ask questions of Molly Lee.
Those ones you can use it here.
Thousands of sailors have. Molly has been at the SGA 27 years. When the ships come in, she gets help from the American Women's Association.
They like to be here because they felt that the guys are feeling more at home talking to them. And besides, I cannot cope with the work here because of 8,000 guys here.
And if there's a long lineup, just take the walkway over and go into one of the other malls, Queensway.
They've managed to survive in Hong Kong and lived here a number of years, and it gives them a way to pay back, and they love it.
Okay, great. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Have you got a map?
No, I don't.
Okay, we're going to fit you with everything.
Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you, ma'am.
Good luck. Go out this way.
Okay.
Here, cheers. Cheers. Nice to meet you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And a late Thanksgiving.
Garlic?
Sailors can even get a home-cooked meal in Hong Kong. They're often hosted by the American Women's Association. In November, Dave Schaus, the recently departed officer in charge for the Navy at Fenwick Pier, hosted 3 sailors.
There you go.
This is something we don't get to do very often, is have a home-cooked meal And you know, the ship, it does the best for us that it can as far as food, but this is far like superior, I guess, to what we get on a normal basis. So.
Bud Light, Joe Bananas in Chinatown. Gentlemen.
On their own in Wan Chai, sailors are fair game. Anyone looking to make money knows when the Navy is in town. Lately, that includes certain Filipinas who approach sailors and ask them to put money in envelopes just like this.
But I've observed before, and they're pulling in thousands of Hong Kong dollars because the sailors are very generous.
These women can be found on Wan Chai streets at other times, soliciting donations for the same supposed medical mission in the Philippines. But more of them were out when the U.S. Navy was here in November. The Navy says it's a scam.
Now, how do I know that it's a scam? Well, I've told the women that if they can produce a government license that documents them as a charity, I will let them inside my facility and ask for money. They've never produced anything for me.
We asked for ourselves.
In the city, is it legitimate?
Yes, sir.
You're not taking the money yourself?
No, actually we are missionaries. We are volunteer missionaries.
You're a missionary.
Yeah.
Where's the office in Hong Kong?
In Chongwan.
Chongwan, do you have an address? Can we talk to somebody there?
But nobody's there right now because they are in Philippines.
We did come to the Shongwan location, to a church upstairs, to ask some questions. A man who identified himself as the pastor answered those questions, but would not agree to go on camera.
Pastor Ray Rivera claimed the medical mission is legitimate, but acknowledged his church has no license to solicit donations in Hong Kong. He distanced himself from the women, saying he knows them, but they're not exactly from the church, and he can't control people who want to help the medical mission by seeking donations. The Navy says drunken sailors are an outdated stereotype.
So I think it's kind of a misconception that the thought of the drunken sailor.
Not that sailors have stopped drinking. But mishandling alcohol now can mean stiff penalties, including being thrown out of the Navy.
There's zero tolerance for drinking and driving or drinking and operating machinery and that sort of thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, thanks.
And sailors are simply different than they were.
The young women and men who are coming into the Navy are older, more educated, and more often than not married, perhaps with children. I think they're going to bring with them more sophistication, more maturity than we had when we joined 20 years ago.
For any persistent drunken sailor, the Navy prefers having someone from its shore liaison group head off trouble before it starts. The people in shirts that say SLG have no authority under Hong Kong law, but sailors have to respect them.
You've had enough, you need to go back to the ship. That's a lawful order. And the SLG is empowered to give those same lawful orders.
The Navy operates under the all-encompassing Uniform Code of Military Justice. It grew a little longer in October 2005. U.S. President George W. Bush signed an executive order that made patronizing a prostitute an offense for anyone in the armed forces. If the girly bars of Wan Chai appear risky for sailors, the Navy doesn't seem concerned.
What does the Navy in Hong Kong do about sailors who come here and go to these places and, from what we can see, you know, they're consorting with prostitutes?
No, I disagree. I don't know that seeing young women and men going to bars in Wan Chai alongside their Hong Kong compatriots, their expat compatriots, means that they're consorting with prostitutes. I think that's quite a stretch, and I'd have to differ with you pretty strongly on that.
Whoa, bro.
What's up?
What you doing?
What you filming for? What TV?
Hong Kong TV.
Hong Kong TV.
Not going to the U.S.? Because I don't want you to be a problem
right,
for me.
then.
How do you know if someone meets a young lady or a female sailor meets a young man and they hit it off And as two consenting adults, they want to be intimate. And how do you differentiate between that and someone that is subtly trying to sell you sex? It's a judgment call.
And a judgment call that is not often made.
Anyone brought up on charges in Hong Kong for that?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Sex in U.S. sailors has been a bigger problem in other parts of Asia, especially where there are or have been U.S. bases, like South Korea or the Philippines. Here, there are only Navy visits, and no one complains about sailors meeting bar girls. Not the police, not the tourism board, and certainly not the girls.
If they punish the client, and the situation of the girl would become worse, because they were only going more underground.
In the U.S., the Christian right, among other interest groups, lobbied the president to do something about prostitution and trafficking of women before the executive order was signed.
I think it's probably a reflection of changes in perceptions, changes in popular morals back in the United States.
Sex workers group Ziteng says most of the prostitutes who end up in Hong Kong have not been trafficked. They come knowing what they will be doing, and they want the money.
Because of globalization, many women cannot find a job, or if they can find a job, they cannot support their life. This is the only way they can earn income.
Hong Kong, whatever it has to offer, is prime liberty for U.S. sailors. More than a year ago, the U.S. 7th Fleet commander started working to get even more of them here.
He wanted to increase the number of ship visits, and that's a message that we've conveyed to our colleagues in the Chinese government, and thus far they've been receptive to that.
There's no single group of visitors returning annually to Hong Kong that's bigger than the U.S. Navy. Well, thank you for watching our show. Please keep those emails coming at this address. Until next Sunday, from the Pearl Report team, good night and have a great week.
We'd just like to inform our viewers that you can catch this edition of the Pearl Report again on Tuesday night at 1 a.m.